guys, welcome back to another episode of Formers Friday. Today we're going to be talking about construct bots, but before we hop into the new Dino riders we're going to be taking a look at, I want to talk about construct bots a little bit in general. Let's hop into photo 10. Most of you who know construct bots know them to look like this, and the basic idea is that the construct bots start with a somewhat skeleton-like frame on the inside. You attach these little pieces to it, and then you are able to make a transformer out of it. You can basically twist him and fold him and move the pieces around without taking him apart and turn him from a robot into, in this instance, a car. Or in his instance, he can be a tank or an airplane. It just, depends on the character. But like for instance with Dead End here, I don't have to remove pieces in order to transform him. Now technically on him I do. In order to turn him into the tank or the airplane, I have to remove certain pieces, and so this one kind of betrays the formula a little bit. But this one is a good example of how you just kind of twist the things around, you move them, and you can transform him like a regular transformer. Now, one of the key things is because he's built with this little skeleton back there with these pieces attached to it, you can actually take him apart pretty easily, use pieces from another one of these in order to rebuild him, and then create your own figures out of him. So all of these little pieces that come apart can be used in order to build a new robot to your own personal liking. And because they had cars and airplanes, they had a wide variety of different colors and weapons. You were basically free to create whatever you wanted to. The problem with most people, had with these is that the characters kind of look, well, they look janky. I mean, you can just tell right there. There's his arm. It's just this tiny little piece of plastic hiding there. You see the skeleton pieces. You can see all this empty space inside. And people didn't really like that look as much on these bigger figures. I know a lot of you are Creo for life, and Creos look nice, but I hate the fact that you have to rebuild them every time you want to make a new guy out of them. This fills my Transformers love a little more closely, except for this guy. Screw you. But otherwise, I like that idea of just being able to transform him from one form to the other, because that's the fun of Transformers. But now, with the new movie coming out, and the Dinobots making their appearance, they've retooled construct bots a little bit. So let's hop in and take a look at how they look now. Now these new construct bots come in slightly different packaging. The smallest ones come in these little bags, and these bags are actually made to be torn apart across the top, and then you open it like a Ziploc. And then it can be resealed like a regular zipper bag to keep everything safe inside the bag. So when you're going to build a guy like this Bumblebee, for instance, you open up the pack, you dump out your character and your instruction booklet, and then you've got this handy bag to put the pieces back in when you're done. That way you don't lose the pieces. And if you want to rebuild them a little differently, make some sort of different guy out of them, you got stuff left over, you can just drop it in there, seal it up, and then you don't have to worry about losing those pieces, which is actually pretty nice. Now the other characters come in boxes. Before, in the what we saw were these plastic trays that they would come in that were supposed to be able to hold all of your loose pieces, but once you had your guy built, you couldn't really store them in there, and they were just big plastic trays to hold extra stuff. So what they've done now is they've just made a simple plain box. It opens easily. It's strong enough you can throw all your pieces in there, seal it up when you're done, and you don't have random stuff flying around. Those plastic trays just really didn't make enough of a difference in order to hold your pieces together, so we're not too worried about those. But I know what you're thinking. Okay, we see the boxes, we see the bag, that's cool, but what about the actual toys? Alright, let's take a look. Alright, let's start with your Dinobots. Grimlock and Slug here are part of that Construct Bots format that still follows closely to the older style with a few differences. They still have that kind of skeleton-esque look to them, although now I think they do a much better job of making it look more robotic. And one of the things they've done is they've given them an action feature with this little spin wheel. For instance, you can see Slug's neck thing here can twist around so that you know, you've got these moving gears on the inside, and you can see him through the holes on there, so that's nice. Grimlock over here, his head moves up and down, his mouth closes, he's got those gears on the inside. You can look at these and say that these look like robotic dinosaurs. I like the look of these a little bit more than the robots of the old Constructbots, just because I think in this form, where they are robot dinosaurs, it just looks a little more original, that they look this way, and they've played with it throughout. So even though Slug's horn pieces here, you're only ever going to use them on his head, they're not going to go anywhere else, but they still gave him that stylized look. They cut it out, put all these lines and beams and supports and, you know, whatever in it. So even though it retains that overall dinosaur shape, it's also retaining that overall look that the Constructbots have. So big picture, grand scheme of things, I actually kind of like the look on these dinosaurs, much more than I like the look of the individual robots and vehicles of the old Constructbots. There's just something different about them that I think looks cool and adds something to the overall toy. Now, setting those aside, let's grab some of these small guys and throw them out here. Now, these smaller guys are your Dino Riders, and I'm going to grab Bumblebee from over here, and we're going to snap him together real quick so that you can see pretty much how this goes. You rip open your bag, dump out your parts. You do have an instruction book, but I mean, let's face it, instructions, that's kind of your last resort. If you can't quite figure it out, then you go to the instructions, but until that point, you do your best with what God gave you. You try to figure it out. Okay, obviously here is your main body piece, and you can see these rubberized nubs are where you're going to put in your different joints. We've got arms, and you can tell that these are arms because they have the little hand at the end. And you're going to take these little plastic tires and just snap them in on the arms. Snap in real easy, not a lot of resistance. They go in, no fuss, no muss, and there you go. You've got arms. Take the arms and just slide them right on to those rubberized joints, and he's ready to go. Now the legs generally come with a couple pieces, and you're going to stick your pieces together and then attach them to the hip. Let's see here. The wheels, for the most part, on these guys go on the outside. So I've got this one on backwards. I'm going to move it over here and then twist it around. There we go. That's the leg for that side. You've got a foot to put on the bottom. See how easily he's coming together? I lost a wheel. There it goes. You put the wheel on here. And I said it's nice and easy, and of course now I'm struggling with it because I'm trying to look through the camera lens, and that's not the easiest way to build these. You put on his upper leg, attach it to the hip, attach his foot, and you can see that unlike the other Constructbots, these pieces are much more simple, and they fill out much better than the old ones. You don't have pieces of armor sitting on top of that skeleton. These are actually full, complete pieces. You put your head on him. Now his back piece is going to connect on here. Now there are a couple different places that you can connect him on the back. I'm going to go for this one. We'll see if that's right here in a minute. Now the Autobot symbol is supposed to attach onto his chest, and then when you transform him into the vehicle, you take it off of his chest and you put it, you know, somewhere else on him, probably back here for when he's in the car mode. To me, that's kind of a cheat. The thing I like about these is that you don't have to rebuild them, so I usually just leave the symbol where it's going to be in the automobile form. We've got his gun here. And the gun goes in his hand, and here is our little robot. Now, granted, there's not a lot of articulation to him. There's not a lot that you can really do with him, but he's also the cheapest entry-level Transformer. So this would be the same as your, you know, Cosmos or Bumblebee or any of those original small little guys that you had back in the day. He's going to, you know, kind of fill the same mode that those guys did. Now, when you go to transform him, one of the first things you usually do is take the feet and attach them together, and they have these little nubs that kind of fit into there, and you can see that these have an angle on them, which is indicative of putting them together at an angle so that they end up being smooth when you put them together. So that's kind of your clue of how those pieces are supposed to go together. Alright, so then we take the hands and we snap them into the upper legs here. Nice and easy. We fold the head inside and we move the front piece so that this little hook attaches onto the leg here. Now I can see I didn't assemble it quite right. It's not going together. In fact, I believe this is the front of Bumblebee up here. That's his front bumper where the feet are. So in fact, I put it on upside down. So we're going to turn it around here. We're going to flip it on. And let's see, can we... Oh, and I still don't have it in the right spot, you can see. So that's one of the things with these toys, is that you can mess around with them. If you want to look at the instructions, you can. Otherwise, you just play around with it. You'll figure it out. It's not that difficult. And we're going to put together our tiny little Bumblebee. And of course, I can't get the feet to go together because I'm on camera and everybody's watching. But alright, so now you have your little car for Bumblebee. You can take the weapon, and the weapon can clip on and attach as well. So now you got everything together in this one little piece, and you've got your tiny little guy. And like I said, these are not meant to be crazy, you know, masterpiece style Transformers or anything like that. These are meant to, you know, fulfill that space of those tiny guys that you had in the original line. And you've got a nice assortment of characters. Optimus Prime, you know, Lockdown, guys who they have their own unique look, they have their own unique color scheme, they have different weapons to them, so that each one of these kind of stands out on its own, has its own personality, but they all transform more or less the same, like what we just saw. You can see, if I take them and hold them up, you can see the basic structure here of the robot. If I pop out his arms, if I pop the top and flip his head around, move his feet, and there you go. Here's your basic robot. Put the gun in his hand, and he is ready for battle. So, pretty easy, pretty simple construction, but it looks much more solid than the original Construct Bots. This looks much more like a classic Transformers toy, even though it does have the movie look to it. I'm not too happy about that necessarily, but still, overall, it has a nice solid look to it, and it is a fun little toy. And so I do enjoy playing with these because this feels like a Transformer. Now, one of the neat things that they've done with this particular line is that if I take a character like Grimlock here, you can see that Grimlock on his back has a little notch. And if you take a look at somebody, you can see that he's got a little peg going across his crotch region there, and that you can actually snap into that spot on Grimlock's back, and so now he can ride Grimlock. So now he's the guy, he's kind of riding him off like a horse, and can travel around on him. And the idea of these toys is built around the idea that you take these little guys and you transform them and you put them on top of these guys, and they are riders. If we take a look at Slug here, you can see he's got one of those notches right here where a rider can sit on his back. And in fact, Target has an exclusive set out now, which is another version of Grimlock in the yellow and blue look to him. And then it's got an Optimus Prime. This is the Silver Knight Optimus Prime. He comes in all grayish silver colors. It's the same version as this one here, just in all silver. And he also comes with a sword that can attach. You can see the sword there. And apparently, I guess at some point in the movie, I guess he's going to have kind of a silverish look. You can see some artwork there. So this is a Target exclusive to get this 2-pack with these classic colors. So I think what we should do here, I'm going to actually use the magic of my video editing. We're going to open this Target box up. We're going to build the Grimlock. We're going to build the Optimus Prime. And then we're going to compare them to the ones that we already have built. So what do you say we take a look? Okay, now for contrast's sake, I've left the original Grimlock in his dinosaur mode, and I've put Optimus Prime riding on his back here so that you can see what that's going to look like. And then I've taken the Target exclusive and I've done the opposite. Here, Grimlock is the robot, so you can take a look at that mode. And here is the Shining Knight Optimus Prime in his truck mode with his additional sword. And this sword is huge compared to Optimus Prime, and it's clip on it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right, let's reset there. Sorry about that. The sword is huge. I mean, you can see in his hand this thing is gigantic. So it attaches on, looks a little silly attached onto him, but nonetheless you can see Shining Knight Optimus Prime in all his gray glory. Now, Grimlock himself in this version, compared to the original, he's got the blue and gold look going for him, and they did add some black accents, whereas you can see on here, they're just the regular solid color. On here, they did add black stripe down there, so a little bit of extra deco on him. His symbol is a bright red, whereas it is the same copper color on here, and you can see that his head here has some extra deco of the black on there. But otherwise, this Grimlock is the exact same as this Grimlock, just the different deco. This Optimus Prime is the same as that one, just with the deco and the additional sword. But here in the robot mode of Grimlock, you can see that he looks much more like a fully formed robot compared to the other Construct bots. If we actually take this one out, set him aside, and we go back to our original dude here, you can see that while this one has a lot more articulation going for it and a lot more options with a lot more pieces, this one with less pieces looks more like a solid robot. You've got the solid leg pieces, these pieces on here. On the forearms on the other guys were just kind of these ovals with a snapped piece of armor on top to give it a solid shape, whereas here they are a solid shape with an extra piece of armor snapped on top. So this is a much more solid look to the Construct bots, a much more complete look, and I do like this look a lot more than this one. I don't hate this look by any means. I just in general like this solid look a lot better, and it still has your places where you can attach the different things to it. So if I wanted to pull off like a set of his wheels or switch the feet out or something like that, I can still do it on this Grimlock. He's still compatible. Everything about him is still the same. I could even take the giant dinosaur headpiece and stick it on the back here because he's got those clips on his shoulders up there. So the pieces are still compatible. They can still work together. These old style Construct bots, you can see a lot of them on clearance nowadays if you go to Toys R Us or Target. These old ones are being clearanced out to make room for these Dino Rider ones, and I really like these Dino Riders. I didn't think I would. To be quite honest, like I said, I don't like the movie designs in general. I don't like the Bayformers. I'm not too keen on this on a Grimlock looking like this as a regular toy, but when he's part of these constructible pieces that go together and transform, I'm a little more willing to go along for the ride. And since they can transform without having to take them apart and put them back together again, like Creos, this to me does feel like a regular real Transformer, just with the new gimmick of being able to take them apart and swap pieces. So again, really happy with the new line of these Construct Bots, this Dino Rider series. I really like them. I like the accessories. I like how the pieces fit together. I like how the riders can sit on the back of the dinosaur bodies. So overall, I have to give a thumbs up to this line because I really enjoy it. And that's going to do it for today, guys. I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to go to popculturenetwork.com. Check out the rest of our reviews and previews, comics, toys, video games, that kind of stuff. Don't forget you can also go to jointheforums.com, the official forums of the Pop Culture Network. And there you can talk to everybody else who loves all this geek culture stuff like we all do. If you have any additional questions or you want some follow-ups on this, or you just want to know what I had for dinner, you can follow me on Twitter. It's at PCN_dirt. You can subscribe and follow there. And don't forget, you can also call our 24-hour voicemail line. It's area code 217, oh, it's right across the screen, 217-953-4025. And you can leave a message there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's going to do it for me, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week here on Formers Friday on the Pop Culture Network.